Today's video will be a follow-up video on a video that I did a while back regarding making your own PCBs. And when I made that video, I more or less explained how the process is done and I showed the end result. But in this video, I'm going to show you from start to finish how I go from a schematic like this. This right here is a shunt regulator for a motorcycle or a scooter. I'm going to take this circuit here and make a circuit board. So let me move this to the side. Now, using an open source program called Fritzing, I designed this right here. If you take a look at this image right here, you'll be able to see what it looks like on my computer when it was completed. Once the layout is complete, what I do next is I click on Export, and then I do For Production, and I do SVG. Once those image files are created, I then click on Etch Topside Copper, and then I print that on a piece of paper like you see here, using the best resolution on my printer. Once that's done, I then cut it out, and I tape it on the center of a piece of paper like you see here. The method that I use, and that most people use, is called the toner transfer method. You need a laser copier in order to do this. So once this is done, you put this to the side. The next thing you do is you get your transfer paper ready. Now, this is special paper. I purchased this online. You can see it's extremely shiny. This goes inside your laser copier in the loading tray where the paper is drawn in, and then you're going to make a copy on a nice dark setting of this layout right here, and when it's all done, you will see this layout on this paper transferred right in the middle here. Now, if you don't have this kind of shiny transfer paper, it's not that expensive to buy. I bought it online. You can always use a very glossy page from a magazine, cut that out, and tape that in the center. Make sure the tape is nowhere near where your laser printer is going to be printing. You don't want the chance of that drum as it heats up sticking to the tape and causing any damage to your laser printer. So always ensure the tape is far away from where your image is going to end up in the middle. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the printer and I'm going to copy this image onto the toner transfer paper, and we'll go from there. Okay, so this was the one that I copied from, and there it is. It's now on the shiny paper. It's all ready to be transferred onto a copper-clad board. Now, the boards that I'm using are 70 micrometer thickness, pretty thick copper boards. I think it's around 1.8 millimeters thick, the entire board, and the copper layer is 70 micrometers. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, the next step is to cut this out of the sheet here. Now, it's very important that the board is bright and shiny and there's no oily residue on the board. This is 600 grit sandpaper, wet and dry. You're going to use it dry. I'm only going to be using half the board, so I'll place it near the end. So let me just sand this area here. See it? If you don't do a good job cleaning this, then when you go to transfer the toner from the transfer paper to the copper, it may not stick. It'll start to flake and peel off. So make sure it's nice and shiny. I'm almost there. And that looks pretty damn good. Take a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. This is 91%. You can use 70, whatever. Clean that. See what it looks like, all the copper residue. Keep cleaning it. Right. Once you clean this, don't put your fingers on it. That's good. Like that. Evaporate the alcohol. Alright. This right here is very good. I like to fold it over the board. This way when I go to iron this down, I'm not banging into edges. So I'll keep it up there. Fold that edge over. Pull this nice and snug. You don't want any wrinkles on this side. Fold it over, nice and tight. Lay it down. And put some tape here. And a little bit of tape there. Make sure this does not come off. Alright. This is all ready to go now to be heated with the iron. Do this on a nice flat hard surface. That. Alright, I set the iron to a temperature of around medium high. I'm going to let that finish heating up. When the light goes off, I'm ready. I'm going to push down, apply steady pressure, and work the print into the copper board. Start easy. Now I'm going to push down hard. Now move it around like that. Keep going. I take the point of the iron and go over each trace. Push hard on the point. Make sure the hole. Push down again tight. Move it around. It's better to do a little extra heating than not do enough. If you don't melt all the toner material, then you're not going to have a good transfer. The toner material is made of like a plastic-like compound, and it melts, and it sticks right to the copper. Turn this around. It's very hot. Work it in. Push the point. This is just dirt from the bottom of my iron, unfortunately. I don't use it that often. Push one more time. Do the tip one more time and I'm done. Go over it. Alright, let that cool. Alright. Wave it around a little bit. Cool it off some more. The next step, now it's cooled off and I remove the tape, is to gently peel away and make sure that the transfer occurred. So let's go like this real easy. Alright, and there we go. Alright, this is how it turned out. You notice when I took the toner transfer paper off, there was no need to use any water. Peeled away nice and cleanly. And if there was any imperfections, any spots that were a little light, what I did is I took my Sharpie pen and I repaired them. The next step now is take the ruler, make the board the dimensions I want, and trim it nice and clean using the Dremel. Cuts right through very easily. Once that's complete, then we'll work on the acid etching. Alright, this is the board. I trimmed it to the size I want. It's all ready to go. Now the solution that we're going to be using to etch is just a very simple solution. It's made up of 1 part of muriatic acid You can get that at any home improvement or swimming pool supply house, usually available in a 1-gallon jug. And the other part we're going to be using is ordinary hydrogen peroxide. So 2 parts hydrogen peroxide and 1 part muriatic acid. Always add the acid to the hydrogen peroxide. Once everything's mixed together, the next step, we are going to place the board inside the solution and allow it to eat away at the copper. I'm going to move it around with this wooden stick, up and down like that, to keep the flow over the board. Once I see it's complete, I'll lift it up and then I'll rinse it under some water. Here we go. Wear safety goggles, very important. You can see the color. See that color changing? It's eating away. You can see the green. The green is the copper. Keep going. Don't splash. Going, move it around. It does take a little while. In my case, the board is much thicker. Be sure to do this in an open area. The fumes are not good. You don't want to breathe them in. Let's keep moving it around, and eventually around the edges you will see the clear board starting to come through. Leave it out for a minute, let it go back in, let the air hit it. You can see the film sheeting off. That's the copper slowly dissolving. Getting there. Remember, be careful not to splash. Have baking soda nearby and a source of water. See how nicely this looks? What I'm going to do after this is complete and I rinse it, I'm going to take my 600 grit sandpaper and gently go over the traces to remove the toner and any ink from the Sharpie pen. Then it's ready to be drilled. We'll do that next. Turn this around. So you can see it works well using the hydrogen peroxide and muriatic acid. Doesn't work as quickly as the other etchant that you could buy at Radio Shack, but it does work well, but you're not left with a really toxic solution when you're finished. Alright, there's only a little bit more left, just that spot there and that. Once that's complete, I'm going to rinse it in water and then come back and show you how I drill the holes. This is the completed board after it's been rinsed and lightly sanded with the 600 grit sandpaper. Now I'm going to show you how I drill the holes. Once that's complete, I'll show you the finished product. Now to make the holes, I'm going to be using a center punch. You can see the very fine point. I'm going to put that in the location where the hole is going to be drilled. Give it a light tap with the hammer, and it's going to leave an indent where the drill bit can go in without walking. So to do this, I'm going to place this right in the center, right there. You can see that. I'm going to hold out my hand. You're not going to see the hammer, unfortunately. I'm going to give it a light tap. Do this on a hard surface. And now there's an indent in the center where I have to drill. Now the drill bits you could pick up at a hobby shop. They go by, I think, numbers like 50 something or 60 something. And that's one right there. This is a little smaller one, and this one here is the smallest that you would find in a drill bit set if you went to Home Depot. I'm going to be using that on the rectifier. So let me start over here with the size that I need. which is this one right here. I prefer to use my regular drill. I could use a Dremel. Lift this up so I don't drill into the board. Alright. Straight down. And that's good to go. Clear away. Alright, this is the board with the holes all drilled in it. Hopefully you can see the holes all through the back side. It's a little easier than the other side with the reflection. Now I'm going to install all the components and show you what it looks like when it's all complete. Okay, this is my full wave rectifier. And you can see I took the connector off of the old one on my scooter and soldered it onto mine. If you enjoyed this video, please rate it a thumbs up, subscribe, and post links to this video on other websites and blogs. Also be sure to check out my video playlists as well. Thank you very much for watching.